All right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive. You ready to jump in and explore a really fascinating topic with me today?
Absolutely. I'm always excited to dig into something new, especially in the world of business analysis.
Okay, well then let's talk AI. Specifically AI and how it's changing the game when it comes to writing requirements.
Ooh, yeah, that's a hot topic right now, and for good reason. These AI-powered writing tools are really shaking things up.
So for our listeners who might not be super familiar with the nitty-gritty, could you give us a quick rundown of what these tools actually do?
Sure thing. So basically, imagine having a virtual assistant that can help you brainstorm ideas for your requirements, clarify all those complex technical details, and even suggest ways to improve your writing. It's like having a super-powered editor at your fingertips 24/7.
That sounds amazing,
Yeah.
especially for those of us who spend hours staring at a blank screen trying to get those requirements just right.
Right. It's a huge time saver, and it can really help you create clearer, more concise, and ultimately better requirements documents.
So how do these tools actually work? What kind of magic is going on behind the scenes?
Well, a lot of it comes down to natural language processing, or NLP, as it's often called. It's a branch of AI that focuses on enabling computers to understand and process human language.
So it's like teaching computers to read and write, just like we do.
In a way, yes. NLP allows these AI tools to analyze massive amounts of data, extract key insights, and then use that knowledge to help you with things like generating user stories, identifying potential risks, and even suggesting solutions.
It's incredible. It's like having an AI research assistant who can sift through mountains of information and pull out the most relevant pieces.
Exactly. And the best part is these tools are constantly learning and improving as they're exposed to more data. So the more you use them, the better they get at understanding your needs and providing helpful suggestions.
So it's like having a teammate that's always getting smarter. That's a little intimidating, but also really exciting.
I know, right? It definitely raises some interesting questions about the future of business analysis. But I think it's important to remember that these tools are meant to augment our skills, not replace us.
I agree. It's all about finding the right balance between human expertise and AI assistance.
Exactly. We need to use these tools strategically to help us work more efficiently and effectively. But at the end of the day, it's still the business analyst's job to make sure those requirements accurately reflect the needs of the stakeholders and the overall goals of the project.
So it's about using AI to enhance our capabilities, not to abdicate our responsibilities. That's a really important point.
Absolutely. And that's why it's crucial for business analysts to develop a good understanding of how these tools work and how to use them effectively.
Now, you mentioned something called prompt engineering earlier. Could you explain what that is and why it's so important?
Sure. So prompt engineering is basically the art of giving clear and specific instructions to an AI tool so it knows exactly what you want it to do.
Okay, so it's like writing a really detailed recipe for the AI to follow.
Exactly. You need to tell it what kind of output you're looking for, what information to consider, and what format you want the results in. The more specific and detailed your prompts are, the better the AI will be able to understand your needs and produce the results you're looking for.
So it's not just about throwing a bunch of data at the AI and hoping for the best. You need to be very intentional and deliberate with your instructions.
Precisely. It's like having a conversation with the AI. You need to guide it and steer it in the right direction to get the outcomes you want.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So let's say I'm working on a project and I want to use an AI tool to help me write user stories. How would I go about crafting an effective prompt for that?
Well, first you need to define the role you want the AI to play. For example, you could tell it, I want you to act as a senior business analyst with expertise in e-commerce.
Okay, so I'm setting the stage and giving the AI some context.
Right. Then you need to be very specific about the task at hand. So you could say, your task is to generate user stories for a new mobile shopping app.
Got it. And then I would provide any relevant information about the app, like the target audience, the key features, and so on.
Exactly. The more context you provide, the better the AI will be able to understand the project and generate relevant user stories. You can also specify things like the format you want the user stories in, the level of detail you need, and any specific keywords or phrases you want it to include.
Wow, that's a lot to think about. It sounds like prompt engineering is almost like a skill in itself.
It definitely is, and it's becoming increasingly important as AI tools become more sophisticated and integrated into our workflows.
Well, I'm definitely starting to see how powerful these AI writing tools can be, but I'm also curious about the potential downsides. Are there any risks or challenges we need to be aware of?
That's a great question, and it's one that a lot of people are asking right now. I mean, these tools are amazing, but can they really replace human business analysts completely? It's a question that keeps coming up, and honestly, it's a valid concern, but I think it's more about AI changing the role of the business analyst rather than making it obsolete.
So you're saying AI will augment what we do, not necessarily replace us.
Think of it like this AI can take over some of the more tedious tasks, like, analyzing those huge data sets or creating those initial drafts of the requirements.
Okay, so it frees up our time to focus on those higher level things.
Yes, things that require, that human touch, like stakeholder engagement or really understanding those complex business processes.
Which, let's be honest, sometimes feel like you need a PhD just to figure them out.
Right. And that's where human expertise is irreplaceable. AI can't replicate that nuanced understanding or, make those critical judgment calls that we make as business analysts.
So it sounds like this shift towards AI is going to require us to kind of level up our skills a bit.
Absolutely. One of the most crucial skills moving forward is going to be prompt engineering, being able to communicate effectively with these AI tools and give them, clear instructions and guidance.
Like we were talking about earlier, it's almost like learning a new language, the language of AI.
Exactly. And beyond that, becoming more data literate is going to be key. Being able to really understand and interpret the insights that these AI tools are generating.
So we're becoming more like, conductors orchestrating the work of both humans and machines.
I like that analogy. It's a really good way to think about it. But with all this talk about AI and its capabilities, we can't forget about the ethical considerations.
Right. We don't want to create systems that are, biased or unfair.
Exactly. And that's a huge responsibility that we have as business analysts. I mean, these AI tools are only as good as the data they're trained on.
So if the data is flawed, the output's going to be flawed too.
Precisely. And that's why we have to be so vigilant to, critically evaluate the AI's output and ask those tough questions.
Like, does this align with our values? Is it fair? Are we mitigating any potential harm?
Exactly. It's not just about the technical skills anymore. It's about ethical awareness and critical thinking. Considering the potential consequences of our decisions, both the intended and unintended ones.
It's a lot to think about, but it's really important stuff. It's like we're not just shaping technology, we're shaping the future.
And that's both exciting and a bit daunting at the same time, right? But I think if we approach AI with a sense of responsibility and a willingness to learn and adapt, we can really harness its power for good.
Absolutely. It's all about finding that balance between, embracing innovation and staying true to those core values that guide us as business analysts.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's a fascinating time to be in this field, that's for sure.
It's wild to think that just a couple years ago, most people hadn't even heard of these AI writing tools.
Yeah, it really shows how fast technology changes and how important it is to be ready to learn new things.
Right. Like the skills we need today might be totally different tomorrow. So we got to stay curious.
Definitely. We need to think critically about how AI changes our work as business analysts, what it means for the future of what we do.
So are there going to be new jobs?
Yeah.
Will AI totally change how we talk to stakeholders and get requirements?
Yeah, those are all big questions we got to figure out as we navigate this new AI world.
It's exciting to be a business analyst now, right? We're at the forefront of this whole tech revolution.
Totally. We have a chance to shape how AI is used to make better systems and, solve those tough business problems.
But we also have to be careful, right? We don't want to just adopt new tech without thinking about how it affects people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
As business analysts, we have to help bridge the gap between tech and human needs.
Make sure AI is used ethically and helps everyone.
Exactly. Well, this has been a super insightful conversation. I feel like I've learned a lot about AI and how it's changing the game for us business analysts.
Me too. So to wrap things up for our listeners today, let's leave them with a thought to ponder. As AI keeps evolving, business analysts need to stay ahead of the curve, learn new things, and never stop honing those uniquely human skills like creativity, critical thinking, and empathy. Because those are the skills that will make us truly valuable in a world where AI is everywhere. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.